You likely haven't realized that the reason you're stuck at the same income level or why money feels so hard to hold on to is because you're operating from a frequency that you didn't even choose. It was programmed into you before you could talk. Your money habits didn't start with you. They started with the people who raised you. Their relationship with money informed how you interact with money today. The stories that they told themselves became the stories running in your subconscious. And when you work to understand what money stories you inherited, you can then make sense of your starting point. And once you know your starting point, you get to rise into a completely new frequency with money. Nothing shifts your money reality faster than understanding the exact frequency you're operating from right now. Today, I'm introducing you to the wealth frequency scale, and I'm going to break it down so that you can understand what old patterns are driving your current relationship with money and how to rise into a reality where money feels consistent, where you finally feel like you have more than enough. So stay with me because what you'll learn today can begin to change your entire relationship with money for a lifetime. If you're ready to dissolve the subconscious patterns keeping you stuck at your current income level and step into a self-image where overflow feels normal for you, I have limited one-on-one coaching spots available. My signature framework meets you exactly where you are and helps you rise into the frequency that you are ready for. The application link is in the description. The wealth frequency scale is a tool I wish existed when I first started on my money mindset journey. It's a visual guide to understanding your current money mindset and what shifts will elevate you into the frequency of receiving more money in your life. It gives you a clear visual of the beliefs, emotions, and energetic patterns that are shaping your current financial reality. And today I'll walk you through the 4 main frequencies on that scale. Now, I want you to picture a ladder in front of you, a really tall ladder. At the very bottom of that ladder are the old money patterns that you picked up without even realizing it. Those include scarcity, lack, and fear. The belief that wanting more makes you greedy, or that money is something that you have to chase, or that money is finite and hard to keep. These patterns sit at the bottom, not because they're bad to have, they just are what they are. But they keep you stuck. They make money feel unsafe, and they keep you cycling through the same income ceiling over and over and over again. And now at the top of that ladder is where overflow lives. Overflow is a frequency where life begins to feel different. You feel grounded, supported, and you make decisions from clarity instead of panic. You trust that money flows to you because you trust who you're becoming. Being in a frequency of overflow means you're rooted in a mindset that sees abundance as your natural state, and you believe that there is more than enough money for everyone, including you. But before you climb to the top, you start somewhere, and most people start at the bottom or somewhere in between that ladder, and there's just nothing wrong with where you start. So please keep that in mind as you continue in this episode. What I've noticed throughout my career is that the majority of people stay stuck where they are in their money story because they never stop long enough to ask, what if I could see this differently? They never do the work to shift their frequency. But if you're listening to this podcast, you are not one of those people. You're here because you are ready to rise. So let me walk you through each stage. And I want you to pay attention to the one that hits you right in the gut, the one that feels uncomfortably accurate, and that's going to be your starting point. And once you see it, then you can shift into a different frequency. We begin at resistance. Resistance is the level where money feels unsafe. You want more, but your body rejects it. You say things like, I can never get ahead, or something always comes up for me, or perhaps money works for other people, but not for me. Does any of that sound familiar to you? If you grew up watching your parents fight about money or worry about money or avoid it altogether, then your nervous system learned that money equals tension, money equals danger, and money equals conflict. So even as an adult, when you consciously want more money and more abundance, your body tries to protect you by keeping you in the familiar. And the familiar might be struggle or fear or barely enough. I need you to understand that life isn't working against you. Your subconscious and nervous system is protecting you from something that it perceives as danger, even when you logically know that there's nothing dangerous about having more money and having more abundance. I remember this part of my life so clearly. Money would come in and I always found a way to push it out. I spent without thinking, I avoided my checking accounts, and I told myself that I was just really bad with money. But the truth was much deeper than that. My body was stuck in an old story that needed to be reprogrammed at the subconscious level. So many people get stuck here because their body is still responding to childhood stories. Their nervous system is still running a program that says money isn't safe. And when you finally understand that these patterns were taught to you and you didn't choose them, you get to take your power back and you start doing the work to release the old stories, and you get to rise into the next frequency of awareness. Awareness is the moment that you recognize your patterns without shaming yourself for them. You begin saying things like, I didn't realize that I was avoiding money, or I can see how my fear is driving my behavior around money. You start catching yourself in the moment. You pause before overspending. You notice your impulse to avoid looking at your account. And you take notice of how you've been blocking the flow of money from coming to you. You acknowledge the fear instead of pretending that it isn't there. This is where you begin to exercise the courage to look at your money, to analyze your programming, and begin to shift your perspective altogether around money. You get curious about your money instead. You seek to get educated about managing it and how to grow it like a true wealthy person. You start asking yourself, what would it look like if I had a healthy relationship with money? Or what would that feel like in my body? You'll feel inclined to reach for a higher income goal because it finally feels possible and attainable in your reality. You stop treating money like a report card for your worth, and instead you start seeing money for what it really is, a tool that exists to support you and your dreams and your vision. And as you begin to feel neutral towards money, as you stop giving it so much emotional weight, you rise into the next frequency. Calibration is where expansion and resistance meet. This is where you start receiving more, but you don't know how to hold it yet. You might experience an influx in your income and then your body panics. You feel magnetic one week and then the next you fear losing everything. And you might even think to yourself, what in the world is wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you, my friend. What's happening is that your nervous system is adjusting. You're learning a new normal. You're teaching your mind and body what it feels like to hold more for the first time. And this part feels really messy for everyone. Clients tell me all the time that this stage is the hardest. They finally experience the income that they've always desired, but then they're terrified that they're going to lose it all, or they worry that family and friends will expect them to pay for everything, or they feel guilty for having what others don't. This is where we continue with embodiment work. We have to reconcile the internal conflicts, and that internal conflict can sound like, part of me feels so proud to have achieved this level of income, but part of me feels guilty for having so much. So what we do is we anchor the new beliefs that sustain this higher level of income into your nervous system through breath work, hypnosis, and integrating those parts through internal family systems work. When you do this type of subconscious reprogramming work, you calibrate to this new level and you create massive internal shifts that move you into the next level of alignment. Alignment is where wealth begins to feel natural. You feel grounded in who you are. You trust that clients will pay your higher rates without any doubts. You trust yourself with more money. You trust that money will come to you easily. And you stop shrinking your desires so that others feel comfortable. You're really starting to see your power in this level. Women in alignment tell me things like, everything is clicking for me and I'm making more money while working less. At this level, life begins to feel easier because you change the meaning that you give to money. Money finally feels like it amplifies your purpose instead of dictating your worth. And when you're in alignment with money, money responds to your energy instead of controlling your emotions like it used to do so long ago. It almost feels like you're dancing with money and dancing through life. And once you stabilize in alignment, something even more powerful opens up for you. Overflow is the top of the scale, the top of that ladder. It is you becoming an expression of infinite abundance. But overflow is not about material things. It's more so about the identity that you are, who you become when you finally release all of the old stories and you step into the truth of what's truly possible for you. Women in overflow trust their ability to create money in any season of life. They allow themselves to receive money without the guilt. They raise their standards without flinching, and they expand without apologizing for it or the need to explain themselves. In overflow, money is no longer a stressor. It becomes a mirror for how deeply you trust yourself. You feel your physical body vibrating and buzzing. You walk through life with this natural magnetism. So many people don't realize that while you may have been raised in resistance, you're not required to stay there. You can choose to elevate at any point. The mindset that you inherited is not the mindset that you have to live with forever. You can rewire your subconscious. You can shift your frequency. You have that kind of power. But the key is awareness. You can't rise if you can't see where you are right now. And that's why I created the wealth frequency scale. I wanted you to have a visual map that shows you exactly where you are and the steps that you need to take to rise. When you see it laid out in front of you, everything begins to click. Suddenly your patterns make sense. Your reactions towards money make sense to you. Your fears make sense. And once they make sense, it becomes much easier to shift them because now you even have a map in front of you. So let me ask you, which frequency feels like the one that you're currently standing in? Are you in resistance where money still feels unsafe and hard to hold? Are you in awareness where you're starting to see your patterns, but you're not sure how to change them yet? Are you in calibration where you're experiencing more income, but it feels unstable, like it could disappear at any moment? Are you in alignment where things are finally starting to feel natural and you're learning to trust the flow of life? Or are you already in overflow where abundance feels like your natural state of being? Wherever you are, there is no judgment, just awareness. And awareness is the first step to rising into the next level. So here's what I want you to do, my friend. I want you to grab your journal or open the notes app on your phone and answer these questions. Which frequency am I currently operating from? Be honest with yourself. I don't want you to write where you want to be. I want you to write where you actually are. Then ask, what would it feel like to rise to the next level? What would need to shift in my beliefs, my habits, my nervous system for that to feel natural? And finally, what is one small action that I can take this week to move closer to that next frequency? I really need you to know that there is no rush for you to leap from resistance into overflow. I want you to eliminate the expectation that elevating your wealth frequency has to take a certain amount of time. Everyone is on their own personal journey, and you just have to take the next step, and then the next one, and then the next one. Remember that your past shaped your money mindset as it is today. The stories that you inherited, the patterns that you learned, the beliefs that were handed down to you, they brought you to where you are right now. But you get to decide your relationship with money moving forward. You get to choose which frequency you rise into. You get to rewrite the story at any moment. And if you want support in doing that, I'm here for you. I put the entire wealth frequency scale as a bonus inside the wealth embodiment bundle, which gives you access to guided hypnosis, meditation, and subliminal tracks to program your subconscious mind for more wealth. That link is also in the description. If this episode resonated with you, share it with another woman who's ready to shift her relationship with money. Because I believe that when a woman feels safe to earn more and have more, she naturally expands what is possible for her future, her community, and the lives of everyone around her. And I truly believe that that is made possible when we do it in community, when more women come together to elevate each other into making more money and to normalizing the conversation around wealth building and making more money and sharing with each other, what are we each making? What are you earning in your business right now? What are you earning for your services? What are you charging? And beginning to help each other normalize higher levels of income. So if you align with that belief, I would love for you to share this episode with another woman that you are supporting along this money-making journey and wealth-building journey. I'm so grateful that you are here doing this work. I know that it takes courage to look at where you are and decide that you're ready to rise. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.